All right. Tell me about your mother and how she came over to the country, America.
She was a seamstress in Europe, and she she made a nice living. When World War I ended, it was hard. A lot of people were starving, especially in the countries today, which is Poland. Poland didn't exist then. Half of it was occupied by Russia, and half of it was occupied by Austria. That time was the Austrian Empire, and Germany wasn't called Germany. It was part of the Austrian Empire there. So her, her brothers at all, they lived in a city, and as I repeat myself, her father was a musician. So just like today, a father, if he's a carpenter, he'll teach his sons to be carpenters. If he's a plumber, he'll teach his sons to be plumbers. Well, he taught his sons to be musicians. And they, even in those days, they didn't have unions or anything like that. But they did have an agreement that if musicians lived in a certain area, they rounded it off and they said, okay, in this area, no other musicians could come in and play, but it belonged to the local musicians, which was my grandfather and his sons.
What was the name of the town they lived in?
Rahatin.
Ruchatin. In
Yeah.
Poland, in modern day Poland?
Yes. And I had a cousin or something like that who later in life went back to Europe. He visited, he traveled a lot. He went to Rahatin, and there were no Jews left there. All the Jews had left, and they they just said that life was too hard to be a Jew.
So where did your mother move? She
Well,
grew up in Ruchatin, and then after World War One.
yeah, so then she was brought up by her sister. Her name was Clara. She was married to a guy that his name was Yussel. And he was a baker.
Keep going.
And when my father,
This is your mother. Talking about Esther.
oh,
Esther grew up in Ruchatin, and I asked you where she moved to. You
well,
said she left. After
well, well, yeah, I'm leaving out. If you let me tell a story, I'll explain it to you.
All right, but stay on Esther. You said your father.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well, I will
confused.
tell you about her. There, she had her brothers, the musicians. Her father was too old to play anymore and to work, so she was a very good seamstress. So she earned a living by sewing up rich people their clothes and all that. And she took care of her father. And then after a while, her father told her, you know, this is the old world. There's nothing here for you. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, but if I was you, I would go to the new world, find a new life, and begin a new life. So my aunt Clara, my father, he grew up. He was a baker, and he come used to come and visit a cousin. They were the Suslaks. Their name was Suslaks, the last name. And he came, and Iris, we still have that picture of my mother when she was a young girl.
Uh, we might have. I'd have to look.
Yeah.
So look at the camera, Dad. Keep telling the
So
story.
what she did was she started to correspond with her sister. And then my father, as I repeat myself, that he came here at 13, he worked, and then he realized working with his brother was going to go nowhere, and he couldn't get along with his sister-in-law. So one day he just packed up and left, and he became a boarder.
Right, we're talking about Esther, though.
Okay.
That's your dad. We're back to your mom.
Well, I'll get to
Your
her.
mom was a seamstress. Stay on Esther.
Yeah, I'll
She's
get
a
to her.
seamstress, and she sewed clothes for wealthy people.
Yeah, so I'll get to her. You're rushing me here. Anyway, she her father told her one time, you know, I'm an old man and I don't know how long I'm going to live.
Right, you told me that,
And you ought to go to America.
you said the New World. Was the New World America, or was that like
That,
Italy?
no, it was the United States. You know,
Okay.
there's opportunity there, so forth. Well, my aunt, especially for a young girl, she could not come to America. Uh, she had to have a sponsor, and it could not be a single man or anything like that. It had to be a relative. So her sister sponsored her and brought her up.
So where did the Suslaks come in? Is that your...
That was my mother's sister.
So her married, the husband's name was Suslak.
Yes, Yussel was his first name, last name was Suslak. And when she came here,